to our November Sycamore High School Ed Talk. Our topic today is rethinking the high school schedule. And again, because these sessions are meant to be kind of like a whet your appetite kind of environment, we only have 20 minutes. So Greg is here today to talk about his experience with a different take on the high school schedule, but some of the positives have been some things that he might change, and a way for us to think about the future.
Great, Tricia. I don't think I would have been asked to do this if I maybe didn't get to this position through the experiences that the Syn Lab has kind of provided me to change my framework and the way I kind of understand education. So the Syn Lab started, so it would be impossible to start this out without going through a little bit of history behind our schedule in the Syn Lab and how we got to this point and how it may or may not be a model that we could use at a bigger scale or something that we could learn from here at the high school. So originally, 4 years ago when the Syn Lab opened, it was a school within the school. We had no classrooms. We had no schedules. It was our goal that the students would do mastery-based learning at a relatively self-paced in a self-paced environment, would get assistance from like master teachers who would create content. And that could look very different in each core subject, but we wanted to get it done in math, science, history, and language arts. Very quickly we recognized that it was a humongous leap for all of our students, no matter what their ability levels are. And I think it's important to understand that we have a wide range of abilities in our little school, but none of them were ready for like the complete freedom that we were providing them, going from a fully structured 7-bell day to a no structure. So last year, we kind of got the opportunity to be creative during our quarantine because we had to be. And we recognized that we should have all of our kids, whether they were at home or here with us, meet twice a week. That way, like, we got a chance to make sure that we touched base individually with every student because, as you all know, that was very difficult last year. So then that kind of forced us to change the way we did things. And it turned out to be, we all think, or at least I think, it turned out to be for the better. So now what we do is we have 2 teachers from every subject area because now 4 years later we have 4 classes and we doubled our size. And so there are now 2 English, 2 science, 2 history, and 2 math teachers. Essentially, we have 4 rooms. That's like the first way I want you to understand it. So we save a lot of space. We also have our large Synovation lab. I'll just talk you through this and then I'll show it to you. Maybe that's a good way to do it. Actually, I'll just go ahead and present right now. So here you kind of see a teacher schedule in the Synovation lab, okay? So this is math with me and Mr. Pletz. This is from last year, but here's English with Mrs. Feist and Mr. Reardon. And Mr. Reardon is now Miss Turcher, who's doing an absolutely amazing job, by the way. Like, we miss you, Breen, but thank God for Megan. And then here's social studies with Mrs. Randall and Mrs. Cole, Mr. Cole, and then Mr. Arnold and Mr. Langdon in science, just to kind of give you guys names if you ever wanted to go talk to someone else about this. So what you see is that on Mondays and Wednesdays, Mr. Pletz is in this room, okay? And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I am in this room. And a similar schedule applies to every subject area, okay? On Fridays, we are all like, well, I don't want to get into Fridays yet. I think that's kind of like the best opportunity for this, but it also presents people like with, I don't know, a lot of apprehension. So we're going to get there, I guess, a little later. So what that means for our students is that they go to a class, if you will, in the Syn Lab twice a week. So this is a sample student schedule right here. Notice this student has ASL every day. They have art every day because those are traditional classes. They're not offered in the Synovation Lab. But for science, this student goes to biology on Mondays and Wednesdays. Now, that does not mean the student is not doing biology 5 days a week. On Monday, the student is essentially tasked with 2 days worth of work. And then on Tuesday, the student has access to their teacher in like a free open environment. That's what the Syn Lab is, but that could be many different things in a traditional school. And so the student is free to like choose how they use this time, but they also do have access to their teacher. So almost all of the work that gets done on this day and this day, really there's like probably 3 categories for it. It's independent, self-driven work. It's intervention with a teacher, or like they could pair up with people from their class because they're also free that bell, and they can like work together, whether that's like as an official group for a group project, or they can just kind of naturally group with their peers and work together on their work. And this student here, you can see, has all 4 of their subject classes in the Synovation Lab, their core classes. So you can see that they go to English class on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They go to math class Tuesdays and Thursdays. They go to history class Tuesdays and Thursdays. They go to science on Mondays and Wednesdays. And then all of these blank bells, this is a study hall here, which is why they're in the Syn Lab every day. All of these blank bells give the student the following: autonomy, opportunity for like smaller group or individualized help, some freedom to do and choose what work to do and when to do it. And then finally, like maybe like a more relaxed atmosphere, which might promote a little bit more community. When we looked upon like the strengths of doing this schedule, these were the lists that we've kind of come up with. So like during her open bell, we have Ms. Knatzer will run through executive functioning training with students that are struggling. So 1, it means that not every student has to get that training. 2, the training can be delivered at a smaller scale, and I think that might make it more effective. And then it gives them a chance, because of our like open freedom of time, to do more direct things with students that they need that way. It provides us time with field experience. That's really a Friday benefit. We can get to that later if time allows. It gives teachers time to meet with like parents, families, with the student. We meet as a team during first bell, so you will see somewhere on here that there are no classes. This is why this student is gone first bell, is that this is the bell. There are no Syn Lab classes offered. It's kind of like our plan bell, and we meet more than you would ever want to know, but it's necessary in order to achieve that. 7 doesn't really apply to you guys, but if you're wondering, we used to have a room where our kids would go and take assessments, and it was like obviously a testing room. Now with this schedule, they can there's a lot of flexibility with testing. They can take tests here in this room in math, or they can take tests like nearby with me on their alternate days. We'll see if number 9 is true or not. I certainly believe that number 8 is happening because I have far more smaller or individual meetings with students than I used to, and I think that's helping that.